Hey everyone, Joshua14 here, and I just wanted to chat with you guys about the new Surface Book 2, which was just announced today. Hey, I'm watching myself. But let me share this very quickly on my Facebook so that my friends know about it, so we can chat. And all my YouTube guys, you should have the announcements going. But let's talk Surface Book 2, shall we? But so it totally blindsided me. Like, I didn't even see it coming. I don't know about you guys, but Microsoft, those sneaky guys, they didn't even like have a big press event or anything like that. They just basically said, hey, guess what? Come over here in the corner because we got some Surface Books coming out. But I'm very excited about this. So first off, let's go over the quick just Microsoft page, and I'll show you exactly what they are going over. So let me find it. Here we go. And here is what you're going to find on the Microsoft.com Surface page. So it gives you, let's look at this table for all the tech specs, everything you need to know about Surface. So display, the 13.5 or 15-inch Pixel Sense with up to 3240 by 2160 resolution. It's still a 3:2 aspect ratio, still 10-point multi-touch and ink. So the previous Surface Book had 3000 by 2000, so this is bumping up the specs a little bit, which is cool. Storage still 256, 512, 1 terabyte, and dimensions looks to be about the same, but obviously with the 15, you're getting different dimensions. And you have all the same ports as before on the original Surface Book and Surface Book for Performance Base, but you are getting a USB Type-C added on there as well. It's not Thunderbolt, unfortunately, but you are at least getting that for data and video, up to 5 gigabytes per second, I believe. So then we are going to battery life. So they're saying up to 17 hours of video playback for both models, the 13.5 and 15-inch. And graphics is where we are going to go crazy. With the 13.5-inch, you have the choice of the just Intel HD 620 integrated GPU on the i5 model, or you can get the 1050 GTX 1050 from NVIDIA with 2 gigs of DDR5 memory on the i7 model. And then on the 15-inch, you can get, I think it automatically comes with the 1060 with 6 gigs of DDR5. So the full-on 1060, which is amazing, which the full-on 1050 only has, I think you can get it with 4 gigs on the 1050 Ti, but this is just the 1050. So, so the 13.5 display will be 3000 by 2000, and the 15-inch will be 3240 by 2160. So you're still hovering around 260 PPI, which is really good. And the display on the Surface Book is, the original one was just top notch. So yeah, I was surprised. My brother's chatting with me in the live chat here. If you want to jump in, anyone. But yeah, they need that Thunderbolt, unfortunately. But I think at least with the discrete graphics that are the 10 series will add a lot and not make people actually need to do an external GPU. So I think that if you hook it up through some fast fiber internets, you won't even need Thunderbolt because you'll just be transferring stuff so fast over the internets, right? At least that's what I've seen on Reddit so far. People are like, whatever, I don't need Thunderbolts. But it's good that they still have the USB Type A's in there, 2 of those, and a full SD card slot reader, so you can still do that with the headphone jack still on the tablet portion. So the Surface Book 2 13.5 is going to have 8 gigs or 16 gigs of RAM, and the 15-inch will automatically come with 16 gigs of RAM, which is amazing. So let's come down to the processors. So what's amazing is that the i7s will be quad-core processors. So if you go with the i7 on the 13.5 and the 15-inch, which automatically comes with quad-core, you will get the i7 8650U, which is 4.2 gigahertz max turbo. And if you cheap out, you can do the i5 7300U, which is dual core, but that's basically like you're getting the that's the last generation, the 7th gen. So I think that may be the same as the performance base, but don't quote me on that. So because I think that had the 7th gen, but I'm not sure. Either way, the power supplies are actually bigger. If you have the discrete GPU, 95 watts power supply on the 13.5 if you have the 1050, and as well 95 watts for the 15-inch. So the weight difference, 3.38 pounds on the i5 model. The quad-core i7 is at 3.62 pounds, so that doesn't add that much for the 13.5-inch, and then 4.2 pounds with the 15-inch. So, and that is basically just giving you more stuff there. On WindowsCentral.com, we have the full-on lineup of Surface Book 2015. So yes, the i5 Surface Book 2 versus the i5 is the 7300 versus the 6300. So it was going up 200 megahertz from a 3.0 gigahertz dual core to a 3.2. And then obviously the displays are going to be the same if you have the 13.5 inch. And the graphics, not that big of a jump from the 520 to the 620. But the Core i7 says it's Intel UHD graphics 620, which is interesting. But I'm really just not sure what that means as far as like, hey, is it going to have more texture units or whatever? But obviously the big thing that everybody wants to know about is how that 1050 on the 13.5-inch Surface Book 2 is going to do instead of the 940M on the original Surface Book or the 965M of the performance base. So very excited to see how that pans out. But the other good thing that is happening is 5 hours in tablet mode they're touting instead of 3 hours, which I definitely loved reading comics with the tablet mode on the Surface Book. So you're definitely going to get some more mileage out of that couple hours. If that's true in real time, if you can at least get an hour extra would be awesome. You are going to get, as far as wireless goes, Bluetooth 4.1 instead of 4.0. No 5.0, unfortunately. And it's still Marvel Wi-Fi, which people are kind of ticked about. But I didn't have that many issues with my Surface Book for performance base or Surface Pros with Wi-Fi. So just some issues with some connected standby stuff, which you'll have to work around, but not a big deal in my opinion. So then we talked about the ports already. Audio, still stereo speakers, and Dolby Atmos for headphones compatible. And yeah, the difference in weights really going to be not much at all. The cameras stayed the same, still the IR camera with Windows Hello, which is cool. And so the new one is coming out November 16th. That is not far away. So it's basically less than a month. And pre-orders start November 9th. So that will be pretty wild. Conclusion, I'm super excited to see the quad core on there. I mean, like, especially for gaming, this is going to be huge. And I'm very curious to see of how the fans, how loud the fans are. So yeah, the original did not have two size configurations, Joel, just one. It was only 13.5. So now they have 13.5 inch and 15, and the 15 is the one with the 1060. But you can still get the i7, which will be the same quad core on the 13.5. That will have the 1050 2 gig card. So, all right. So now let's look at the prices here. So for the 13.5 inch Core i5 model, you will get 256 gigs of storage, 8 gigs of RAM, integrated HD 620 Intel graphics for $1,500. And hey, Brand T, I'm glad to hear it. If you want to go with the i7 on the 13.5 inch, it will be $2,000 for the 256 SSD with 8 gigs of RAM with that 1050 GPU. If you want to bump up to the 512 with 16 gigs of RAM, that will be $2,500. So if it'll be $500 to double your storage and double your RAM, but thankfully you'll still have the 1050. And another $500 if you want to go up to the 1 terabyte SSD. So if you got to have the storage, that is a pricey upgrade. So then we go to the 15 inch, and I think this is going to be the sweet spot right here. $2,500 for the 15 inch with 256 gigs of SSD, 16 gigs of RAM, and that 1060 with 6 gigs of DDR5. It'll cost $400 to bump up to 512, and 1 terabyte will bring you up to $3,300. So that is the same amount of money that was on the Surface Book with performance base with that 965M with the 1 terabyte and 16 gigs. So the value with the 1060 with 6 gigs is a lot better than the 965M, which only had 2 gigs of DDR5. So let me throw this up there for you guys to see real quick, and then we'll also look at some of the accessories. So there's the pricing for that i7 15 inch, and then the 13 inch i7 pricing, and then the i5 down there being the cheapest at $1,500, which if you don't want to use that for gaming, and I'm sure the battery life on that is going to be a beast. If you would just want to do some minor, that Intel HD 620 is what I had in the i5, but I heard that the i5 is a fanless model. So I'm pretty sure you're not going to want to get that for gaming at all, unless you're doing light gaming and using an external fan like you would on the Surface Pro 2017 i5 as well. But so let's look at some of the new accessories. There's this new Surface Precision mouse, which is $99, and that has basically like a little fan out, just like the Logitech Performance MX mouse, which actually looks really cool. And I've actually seen the micro USB it's Bluetooth, but you can actually plug it in and make it wired if you want, which is great. So they're obviously not changing the Surface Pen, still $100 with that 4,000, I think 4,000 levels of pressure, and USB-C to HDMI adapter coming soon. Obviously, they still have the Surface Dock, which adds all that stuff. So, and obviously, they want to sell you Office and all that jazz. So, all right, what do you guys think? I'm very excited about these new Surface Books. The fact that they came out with 2 SKUs and 2 sizes, or more than 2 SKUs, but 2 sizes, and they're definitely throwing the gauntlet out there for the MacBook is awesome. So I'm really super stoked. I'm hoping that I might be able to do some trading around and pick up one of these guys to show you the graphics capabilities. So we will see how this works out. If I can get one in for review, if I can't pick one up, I will definitely do my best so that I can check things out. But yeah, I think Microsoft did a great job of updating these and refreshing it. I think it's a true successor with quad core is really going to make the difference here. Instead of, I think doubling the cores is going to make it huge for performance, video editing, and I think that $2,500 on either the 13.5 with the i7 and the 1050 with 512, or the 256 with 16 gigs of RAM and the 1060 on the 15 is probably going to be your sweet spot for the price. So, so yeah, definitely. Well, hopefully I can get into the Microsoft Store, my local one. Hopefully they have them, so I can do a quick showdown of the different models and the weight. I'm going to bring in my Surface Book with Performance Base and see the weight comparison between the 15 and the 13 and see how they work. But as far as the design, the hinge is pretty much the same. They say you still have about like that much of tilt on the back of the screen, which is kind of a bummer with the awesome new hinge of the Surface Pro. But just looking at the form factor, you can at least flip the screen around and put it down, so you're using the full battery of the Surface Book is still cool. So so yeah, I'm super excited about it, and hopefully tomorrow I can get into the Microsoft Store and check these guys out. They said they are completely compatible with the Windows mixed reality headsets, which I've seen in person. The Microsoft Store has an Acer one, and I've checked out those touch controllers, which actually feel pretty good. But I haven't been able to actually test it out yet. So they said they're coming October, and we're on the 18th. So hopefully I will be able to try one out. I've got a Vive, so we'll have to see how that works out with the Surface Book 2 performance with Windows Mixed Reality. If I pick one up, I might try it out with the Surface Book with Performance Base. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching, and definitely will hopefully keep you guys up to date on all the Surface Book 2 news. And please let me know if you guys want to see any more gaming on the Surface Pro i7 with 8 gigs of RAM and the Surface Book with Performance Base. So hopefully you guys have a great night, and we will catch you in the next video. Thanks so much. Peace.